Is it worth it? Absolutely yes, if you're hurt. Personal injury attorneys get paid on a commission basis. So the real question for someone who's thinking about hiring a lawyer is whether or not they're going to add value to the ultimate, end of the case. And most people, when they think about that question, they think about the bottom line, right? Like, is the attorney going to add more value than they take away in fee? And that's a fair way to start. This question is actually a lot bigger than that, in my opinion. But if we just start there, you can look at the ways the attorney will add value through leverage, right? Leverage comes from the threat of a lawsuit. Leverage comes from the fact that the insurance company knows you're represented by somebody who knows the right price for some of these things. Leverage comes from the fact that the attorneys are going to fully investigate the facts and uncover potentially cover-ups by corporations, find witnesses who may prove that someone ran a red light, for example. Leverage is going to come from getting all the right medical answers from the doctors and not spinning your wheels, getting treatment that might feel good but doesn't actually get you better, or getting treatment that might get you a little better but doesn't actually get to the real diagnosis behind your ailments. The first point is, is the attorney going to add more than they take away? If you're hurt, I think the answer is generally yes. Now, beyond that, there's no guarantee of that. So what else can an attorney do for you? First thing I would say is they're going to check and make sure that all the insurance available is identified. Say it's a car accident. Most people don't realize that there may be more than one auto policy that covers the same accident. If you need surgery or have some serious injury, you're probably going to run out of money with the other party's policy pretty quickly. And so it's important that if they have a husband or a wife, someone they're related to by blood or marriage in their household, that we find the other insurance policy that might stack on top of theirs. We can also find other insurance through employment relationships. Sometimes it's not obvious that someone's working for someone else at the time. A lot of times we're going to find that there are corporate linkages. So one company might appear to be a small company, but if we dig deeper and do some discovery and investigation, we can find that they're actually connected to a much larger entity with more insurance. So finding insurance is really critical. Finding those employment and corporate linkages are really critical. Then there's the medical side, finding out what's really wrong with someone who has nagging injuries. Then there's just the basic investigation. The police report is 3 pages long, but there might be hours and hours of body cam footage, 911 audio recordings. There are witness interviews. There are lots of photographs the police take. There are diagrams they make. There are officers' notes. We get all of that in order to synthesize the information as to what really happened in a crash and help bring that to bear on the ultimate outcome of the case. Another way that lawyers can help is by reducing what I call back-end liability. When you resolve a case or you get a verdict, you still have to pay others, right? Of course, you got to pay the lawyers. And then after that, you've got to pay the doctors, and you've got to reimburse your health insurer sometimes. If it's a workers' comp underlying case, you have to reimburse the workers' comp insurance. There may have been loans taken in the middle of the case, and we've got to figure out how to pay off those lenders. And so the lawyers are going to actively work to reduce all of those liabilities so that when the case is over, the client gets the most possible in their actual bank account. Another way attorneys can add value to a case is by giving you peace of mind. When a case is over, a lot of times a client will wonder, if they're not represented, did I get the right number? If you didn't find all the insurance, if you didn't confirm that somebody was or wasn't working for someone else, if you didn't explore whether the drunk driver was overserved at a bar, there's going to be all these nagging questions after you sign on the dotted line with an insurance company. So having a lawyer involved gives you that peace of mind that all of those boxes have been checked, and you can put your case aside and get back to living your life. Another thing that attorneys can do for you is this idea of providing concierge service. Obviously, when you hire a personal injury lawyer, they're paid to go resolve your injury case. However, they typically have decades of experience in handling things like property damage, dealing with rental cars, figuring out what happens when there's a total loss. All those things we do as a service for our clients because we know how. Why wouldn't we help, right? So we're not going to charge our clients for that. The idea is we want to take as many burdens off of you as possible. And any good personal injury lawyer you hire is going to have that attitude. That also goes for knocking down obstacles with your health insurance company, perhaps working with the workers' compensation insurance company, which is perhaps handling a case in parallel with an auto accident. There are a lot of little things that create obstacles for our clients that we are trained to knock down. Attorneys can also help you avoid some common mistakes on your auto insurance policy. A lot of people have, and they don't know they have, coverage called personal injury protection, or PIP. They also have a coverage called MedPay sometimes, and they have a coverage called uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. These coverages are tricky because a lot of times the hospitals will use up all the money there in a sort of inefficient way. So you're leaving money on the table if you don't organize those claims in the right order and prevent one biller from collecting all the money on the front end. That can be critical when your case keeps going. You end up needing surgery, for example, and all of a sudden you need a copay covered. Well, your PIP was originally designed to cover that, and it's our job as lawyers to make sure that it doesn't get assigned over to a doctor unfairly who is going to be paid anyway, so that it's available for you to use for your surgery, for example. One of the most important things about hiring a lawyer, one of the most important considerations when hiring a lawyer, is the fact that you're going to be establishing an attorney-client relationship. This, to me, is, I think, one of the most important considerations for someone. This one weighs very heavily for me in favor of hiring a lawyer, because this is someone who you're going to be in an attorney-client relationship with for life. And so even after the case, this lawyer will be available to you to answer questions. It might not have anything to do with your car accident case. And typically, especially at FVF, that's going to be for free. You know, if we can help you, we help you. If it's in an area that we don't do, we'll help you find a good, competent lawyer. And so that attorney-client relationship can be very valuable, and it's something that ought to weigh in favor of hiring a lawyer after a car accident. So all that said, no two accidents are the same. A better question to ask yourself is whether or not you can get informed before you hire an attorney. And the answer is absolutely yes. A lot of people hesitate before they call a personal injury attorney because they think there's going to be some hard sell tactics. At FVF, we have succeeded in large part because we've embraced the opposite philosophy. When people call us, we want to take as much time as they need to get all their questions answered in a zero pressure environment. And when they hang up the phone, we want them to have a roadmap of all of the obstacles that lie ahead, and even some tools for getting over those obstacles without us. So they can then go back and talk to their families and decide whether it makes sense to involve us in that journey or whether to go on by themselves.